On the second Tuesday of every month, Microsoft does what they call Patch Tuesday, where they release different updates or security fixes to address bugs or vulnerabilities. But sometimes they release emergency out-of-band updates to patch and fix actively exploited zero-day vulnerabilities. And that is exactly the case with this recent bug in Microsoft Office. This is a news report from Bleeping Computer where they're tracking a security feature bypass vulnerability tracked as CVE 2026-21509. And if you take a look on the Microsoft Resource Center, it's literally called a security feature bypass vulnerability. With a max severity of important, it is a high severity risk with a big ol' CVSS of 7.8, still something to take seriously here. But the description isn't all that helpful. They say, reliance on untrusted inputs allows an unauthorized attacker to bypass a security feature locally. It hasn't been publicly disclosed, but it has been exploited. Just recently, at the start of February, Bleeping Computer comes out with another article that Russian hackers are the ones actively exploiting this now patched bug in Microsoft Office. CVE 2026-21509 was observed by Ukraine's Computer and Emergency Response Team. They saw active exploitation with distribution of malicious doc files like Microsoft Word documents, exploiting this flaw just a couple days after Microsoft put it all on high alert. But the metadata associated with the files said this thing was made just a day after, and they're attributing it to APT28 or Russia. Russia hacking with 0 days again. Here we go. Now, this is the original report, and I'll, of course, have links for everything in the video description, and I can't read this, so let me run this through Google Translate. Super quick timeline, right? January 26th is when Microsoft is chatting about this CVE. January 29th is when they started to see these specific files being sent out. But they note January 27th, just the day after, is when the file was created. And the files in question here are those .doc or Microsoft Word document files, right? Consultation topics Ukraine final or bulletin_H. That one being sent to like 60 email addresses, mainly executive authorities of Ukraine. Okay, so we'll fall down the rabbit hole and talk a little bit about it. I don't want to go through everything because I don't think we have all the parts and puzzle pieces that we need to, but there are some really interesting things that we can discuss. And the best part is they did give us some IOCs, indicators of compromise, or the SHA-256 hashes to be able to go track these down. Now, I didn't realize the first time I was looking through this, you kind of had to like scroll horizontally. So it does correlate, okay, what file name associates with what, and we'll go explore those. We can use VirusTotal to try and find some of those SHA-256 hashes and see if they were uploaded and might be available for download, in which case this bulletin_H.doc is something we could pull down. But with this being super emergent, pretty recent from January's Patch Tuesday, the end of the month, and now getting into February, I thought it was pretty cool. Hey, some of my friends are talking about this. Flare had a sweet blog post and write-up while they were digging into just about everything from the January 2026 Patch Tuesday, all of the vulnerabilities and all of the kind of exploits that they were discussing, along with, kind of sweet graphs to see how these things vary over time. But they went through all this, and of course they highlighted the big one here in that out-of-band emergency update, CVE 2026-21509. They talk a little bit about it, note it's coming from APT28, Russia, the group best known for their work behind the Hillary Clinton email attack in 2016, okay? And then they kind of see, are there any hits or any other threat actors, cyber criminals, and adversaries chatting about it on Flare. Now, you know, I'm a huge fan of Flare. I think they do some really cool stuff. They are a channel partner, and they are the sponsor of this video. I super appreciate all their support. So I did want to give them just a little bit of love, and we can go take a look. Are any other threat actors chirping about this thing with their platform? I'll go search for anything and everything pertinent to CVE 2026-21509. And there's stuff in Telegram. A lot of folks are chatting about it across different forums. Some malware news. I think mostly folks are just kind of regurgitating and like re-syndicating, the alerts, notifications that, this is out and about. But across like 107 events between, of course, the dark web and all of the shady places there and the open internet, there's a lot to kind of at least see what are folks saying. That is the real perk of Flare, being able to see everything that they are tracking across info through their malware logs, chat messages sent over Telegram, and ransomware leak sites, dark web marketplaces, forums, and all the sweet stuff. I just thought it was pretty cool that Flare was actually tracking even some analysis of vulnerabilities following Patch Tuesday, and they put that out totally for free. They've got a whole huge breakdown of everything that they were tracking here, and just thought it was cool. Wanted to show it to you. And hey, big love for Flare. You can get some of that sweet threat intelligence to augment public information, what's going down on the dark web and Telegram chats with Flare, and a free trial. I'll have a link for that in the video description. Thank you so much for Flare and their support. But anyway, let's get back to that CERT Ukraine write-up and some of our malicious CVE 2026-21509.doc files to see how they've been beating up this security bypass in Microsoft Office documents, or Word docs. And specifically, it looks like it is a network connection with an external resource using WebDAV. That means it downloads a file, in this case a shortcut file, and that will even trigger another download and run an executable file. So say a hacker tricked you into opening this Word doc, and then immediately it were to actually open up and execute and run some remote untrusted code. So I've pulled down one of those suspect files, bulletin_h.doc, into a virtual machine for us. I'm using Remnux, the reverse engineering malware Linux distribution, and I would love to be able to showcase this in Windows, like with Microsoft Office, and try to see the thing fire, but I'll admit I don't quite have another Office setup install available. I feel like I used to, but try to clean up a lot of my virtual machine mess, and I no longer do. But I do have in a malware directory our Office CVE and the bulletin_h.doc file. We were able to pull that from VirusTotal, as you know, and it is a rich text format file, which of course could still be open in Microsoft Word, but because it is just simply text, we could open it up in a text editor. And it is this thing. Now, a lot of this is boilerplate. You'll see a lot of the syntax here kind of setting fonts or setting a header, setting the layout, setting some of the designs for maybe some pictures that are included. And with all of that, you've got some random values and numbers and stuff. But if we know this vulnerability is all about OLE, or the object linking and embedding, you might have caught that even in just the bleeping computer articles that we mentioned. The update that Microsoft rolled out addresses the vulnerability that bypasses OLE mitigations, protects users from vulnerable COM, or the component object model, and OLE object linking and embedding controls. So with this referencing objects, those are pretty well defined in the RTF format, or rich text format, with like a // object reference. And you'll see a couple of hits for these that then include a lot of the numbers, or like raw data, hexadecimal really. We're looking for the ones that do have OBJEMB, or embedding that as something else. Actually, I could just search for OBJEMB for embedding here. There are only a couple of these. But what's to stop us from ripping out that content and then trying to decode or unravel what might be included in the hexadecimal data here? Because there is a lot. We're looking through like, what, almost 20,000 lines of this file. So maybe some command line magic, let me go ahead and cat out that file, get everything to standard output, and then I want to just simply grep for anything that is actually hexadecimal. So I'll use regular expressions here, so the -E, and then what I'm searching for inside of a group, I want the regular hexadecimal character set. So the numbers 0 through 9, and then because that's base 16, it adds up to other letters A through F. And we can make that greedy, let's just add a plus sign, and I think that's gonna get us what we want. At the very least, we get a boatload of numbers, right? I'll admit that's a pretty dirty approach, and we're gonna get a lot of false positives, but ultimately I just want to rip out, carve through all of the different hexadecimal values, or at least stuff that looks like it, so that I can decode it and then try to find just the breadcrumb, just the puzzle piece that says, ooh, there's a smoking gun, I see a WebDAV protocol, or I see some external weird random domain or IP address. So actually, with all of those now attempted hex values pulled out, we could use XXD to work with hex, -R to like reverse it to get decoded hex, and -P to print that out. Now you'll see there's a lot of other noise, but some parts and pieces that look like actually potentially valuable data. All this gunk though for non-printable characters though we could probably clean out with just strings. STRINGS, if I could learn to type. But strings by default will print things that are plain text, or again, actual printable characters, not those weird random Unicode question mark symbols we saw, with the minimum length being 4 characters by default. So you'll see some weird stuff here that maybe we don't care about, but again, more parts and pieces that are actually pertinent to what we would be interested in somewhat human readable data. But we could actually tweak that with the -n argument and bring that to like 12 or 10 or 15, something other than 4, so we'll have less of those noise and nonsense. But ooh, now we start to see amongst tweet entries some strange potential local IP addresses, 192.168.217.250, which is weird. But if I just take a look through here, you're seeing parts and pieces that might make up a regular Word document file. But you see this here? Smoking gun, 2 backslashes, indicating, okay, external resource, maybe SMB over the network, but dav dub 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 root, webdav. To a file, Venetia favorites blank.doc. That is what they are pulling down and what they've just smuggled in to this specific file, bulletin_h.doc. Not a whole lot else to look through here. That's just the part and piece that we were curious about because that is the webdav reference. Ultimately, that uses the DLL file ehstore shell, disguised as some enhanced storage shell extension, with an image file, or splash screen.png, that has shellcode inside it. That shellcode ends up changing the path of the Windows registry for a class ID, CLS ID D9144DCD, blah, 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 with a COM hijacking implementation and creating a planned task for maintained access, persistent capability, and more code execution in the future. That ends up terminating and restarting Explorer, like your whole Windows desktop environment, which will then, thanks to the COM hijacking trigger, ensure this all again. Or, okay, that's the actual execution of it, that launches the Covenant software tool. I'm not positive, and I would be curious if that's like open source Covenant C2 for command and control, but it's interesting that uses legitimate file N cloud storage, filen.io. Uses that for like C2. Infrastructure for management and command and control. Apparently, Covenant is oftentimes used by UAC 0001 or as Ukraine refers to APT28, Russia. And this filen.io as some other online resource that they are leveraging and taking advantage of for command and control or just hosting and managing their infrastructure is maybe something that you weren't tracking before, could be added to a list of maybe a network block if allow list makes sense for you. But this is another sweet living off of trusted sites technique where some external infrastructure lets a bad actor do even more damage. I'm sure it has, of course, a genuine purpose, legitimately used, but being leveraged in this attack chain. Now, I think the neat stuff here, kind of as part of the specific vulnerability, like when we see the chain that they use to now execute, I presume, blank.doc, they see the exact same sketchy, strange URL or webdav link for blank.doc. So I just don't see a specific SHA-256 hash for blank.doc. But obviously, that infrastructure right now is down. I can't pull down that file. I would be super curious, though, what is in that LNK file, like what was the actual target. But look at their wild graph here. Yeah, this Bulletin H Microsoft Word document that leverages and packages this technique references the document.doc. Oh, that's inside of blank.doc. And they do this like multiple different chains. That's kind of wild. And it stages and pulls through a lot of this. Task, you can see barely here, the execution to get the OneDrive health code running. Wild. The real question, though, is how come and why is this .lnk file or Windows shortcut file actually being executed from the call of this rich text file format rtf.doc security bypass OLE object linking and embedding technique? Well, the mitigation section of MSRC, the Microsoft Resource Center, is walking you through a process to actually block some registry keys. And specifically, they're talking about COM, or the component object model, with these specific CLS IDs for EAB22AC3 blah blah blah. And that is actually the correlating ID number for shell execute, from what I understand. Like that is what will actually fire or run or start a process. That's what it is. It's called Shell Explorer. Forgive me. So I was looking into this, doing a little bit more research, and I saw Decalage. Forgive me, Philippe, I'm so sorry. You know I'm going to get the name wrong, as I always do. I can't pronounce anything. He put out a really cool script just a little bit ago, regular Python code, as he has always been building out the OLE tools, or OLE VBA, or even, I think, Viper Monkey, to look through stuff in strange Microsoft Office documents. But he notes, hey, this script will scan Microsoft Office files to look for that OLE object that could match this specific CVE. It uses his own OLE tools, According to the Microsoft advisory, this is related to the CLSID here, which corresponds to the shell.explorer COM object, which is used to open legacy Internet Explorer engine like Trident or MS-HTML data from any application. So the real fun thing is using some of this Python code, and we can read through it, try to make sense of what this is. It guesses and determines if this does have some Word document, zip file, structure and architecture that includes the XML that we saw in the parts and pieces of different themes or resources, etc. But if it's tracking some of the OLE objects that reference the class ID here, referring to shell.explorer, there's just a gentle little heads up. Hey, you know what? This may be related to the current 0 day that we see Russia exploiting right now. And what do you think? If we were to just run this thing, obviously pretty clearly it's gonna show, oh yeah, the malicious sample that we've got here in our current directory, bulletin_h.doc from Russia. Let me hop into the OLE check directory. Let me try and run the OLE check script that has been provided. We will need to give it an argument, so I'll give it the bulletin_h.doc file. And yeah, tracking down RTF, finds the OLE object with the appropriate CLS ID, knowing that's going to be using probably Shell Explorer, and it executes the .lnk file from that weird web dev URL, it's going to be a hit for CVE 2026-21509. Hey, all these registry tweaks are just kind of a mitigation, right? Obviously, the real solution is to patch, is to update. If you're using, I guess, later versions, Office 2021 are automatically protected without doing that whole dance. But just patch, just update, right? Patch your potatoes. But that's it. That's the video. I didn't want to fall off a cliff on all the malware analysis because I don't think we had all the SHA-256 hashes to track down those indicators of compromise from VirusTotal. But I did want to showcase a little bit of, like, hey, doing some of that research, reading those write-ups, tracking to see what tools are available, what are folks talking about, how are threat actors talking about this, if they are. And with that, hey, please do give Flare some love. Link in the video description. Thanks so much for watching the video. Please do all the bye.